So, I'm going to be talking about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. So, some things that I learned about this is that this Great Pacific Garbage Patch spans from the west coast of North America all the way to Japan. And these areas are linked together by something called a convergence zone, which it is where warm water from the South Pacific meets up with the cooler water from the Arctic. So I found this really interesting because this convergence zone is kind of like almost like a path between these two zones where trash is just kind of like traveling. I also learned that it covers an estimated surface of 1.6 million square miles, which is definitely mind boggling because this is three times the size of France or twice the size of Texas. So, this is definitely a ginormous pile of trash. Unfortunately, this isn't really that easy to clean up because most of the trash has already turned into microplastics, which aren't really that easily removable from the ocean. And it's these little itty bitty pieces of plastic that are shown in this picture. So personally, I find that I definitely rely on a lot of plastic and use it pretty much religiously. So I'm using it every single day. So for example, when I'm too lazy to refill my reusable water bottle, instead I go for the plastic one just because at the moment it's just convenient and it's just easier. Also, a lot of hair products that I use contain a lot of that plastic packaging. There's also one-time use carry out, like when they gave you those like styrofoam boxes. Also, I go through a lot of plastic trash bags every day. However, I really want to change the amount of plastic that I use and instead want to invest in these reusable bags, like the cute tote bags that you find at like Giant or Walmart. And maybe instead of takeout, maybe dining in or eating at home would be better. And I was also thinking that I could definitely make do without buying plastic water bottles so that I can instead uh, be forced to use my reusable water bottles even more. And I know that I can definitely find, or that I could definitely reuse the plastic packaging that I use and maybe make it into something else, like maybe cute decorations. So, as a biology major, um, I think that this really is a huge problem because it can disrupt the food chain. So if you have fish that are eating this plastic that absorb these toxic chemicals, these fish, well, this can cause species of fish to potentially die out, and then that affects animals that rely on that fish as a food source. So then this kind of like ends up becoming a domino effect where then it's making its way up the food chain and could eventually get to us and could really affect us. Also, this piling up of trash in our oceans and again that absorption of toxins can affect us too, and I know that can cause medical problems in the future. So, as a way to address this problem, I definitely think that we can research to see if we can try to degrade the plastic in some way, or maybe instead of degrading it, we can stop it from degrading into microplastics and keep it just kind of like as a big chunk of plastic so that we can clean it up easier and be able to recycle it. So, basically, stop it from becoming a microplastic in the first place. Also, I think that we could genetically modify some sort of like earth friendly bacteria to maybe eat up the trash, of course, depending on the material. So I talked to my cousin, and she's a business major. And from her point of view, she thinks that this can cause huge money losses to businesses due to the pollution that harms animals. And like I said before, can make its way up the food chain. So, for example, someone who or a business who distributes fish. So if we have species of fish dying out, then that could definitely call for loss in sales or loss of money. So, as a way to solve this, we were thinking that businesses as a whole can find ways to better invest their money to earth friendly alternatives and support earth friendly products. And if businesses are doing this, then eventually we can stop trash from piling up even further. So, just as a final reflection to this, I really think that we need to stop using plastic. Um, and I know that it would be something hard to get used to, but I know that it can definitely be done if we actually try and we put in the effort. It also really shocks me, and I'm really surprised that we really aren't taught about this in school, and that it isn't really something that is all too well covered in the news. I literally just learned about this not too long ago myself, and this has definitely changed my perspective on how much plastic I actually use and how that's harming the environment. So, thank you for watching.